I grew up without ever seeing someone like me on a stage like this. Any working family impacted by the criminal justice system knows that our justice is for sale to special interests. While the Manhattan District Attorney was criminalizing poverty, infamous people like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump took advantage and wreaked havoc on communities in Manhattan with impunity. And instead of protecting their victims and including them in the decision-making process, the Manhattan District Attorney completely cut them out. Those who have survived the abuses of the criminal justice system should have a say in how the law impacts them.
The Palestinian women's struggle for human rights, justice, and equality has never been restricted to a period of time or to a certain geography or a place. Tahanie Abboushi is a Palestinian American running for Manhattan District Attorney post in order to make a difference for the justice system there. We are really much honored to have Tahanie on our program at Palestine International Broadcast. Welcome to the program, Tahanie.
Shukran كثير. Thank you so much for having me.
Tahanie, you coming from a Palestinian origin. May you give us just a brief, where are you coming from, your family, hometown, and how they made it to the United States, and your experience as a Palestinian family living there, please.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm Palestinian. My family is from Beit Hanina in Palestine. My parents settled here in New York and had my 9 siblings and I. And alhamdulillah, you know, it's the typical Palestinian story, coming here, working extremely hard, raising a successful family, and making sure that we are taking care of our communities. My father, when he came here, opened up a small grocery store and was the backbone of our family. And is still our backbone of our family until today, making sure that we have everything we need. And being Palestinian in America, it's a beautiful thing. There's a lot of Palestinian here. We keep our culture. We're very proud of our heritage and our culture. And we fight for justice and freedom. And so that is my inspiration to make sure we continue fighting for justice and freedom.
Yes, and Tahanie, you are running for Manhattan District Attorney. What would it mean for you as a first woman and a first person of color and coming from an impacted community to run for such very much visible post in the United States?
I think this would mean a significant change. It would mean being committed to doing something different. As a civil rights attorney, I have been fighting for these cases for a very long time, standing by families, making sure that our rights are protected, that we're holding the systems accountable. And it's really time to have somebody that has walked in the shoes of the people impacted by this office now leading the charge. We've had about 4 district attorneys in the last 80 years. Every district attorney has been a white male. And on the other side of those decisions have been our communities. And so if we're really going to be committed to justice, equality, and fairness, we have to have somebody that has fought for those things their entire career. And that's what I've done.
Yes, and as a Palestinian running for this important post, do you face any challenges, or you feel that the community is backing you?
No, alhamdulillah, we have the movement behind us. We have a lot of support from local and national organizations, people that have seen our hard work for decades and knows that we are committed to supporting the people and ensuring public safety and stability. Obviously, there are always challenges when you run an honest, grassroots, impacted community-led campaign. There's a lot of forces in the city that want things to stay the same, that want power to be maintained, and we're trying to change all of that. So although there's some resistance, we have the people behind us, and we're very proud of the support in the campaign we've been running.
Yes, and Tahanie, we know that you are a very active human rights activist, and you press for justice for the people of Palestine, for the country that your family and you are coming from. Now, when you call for justice for Palestine, how this fits into your call for human rights and justice for all the minorities in the United States, whether the people of color, the Asians, or the communities? How does it fit into that?
We are all human beings. People must be free from oppression, discrimination, racism, violence. People have to have an opportunity to build stable lives, successful homes, to make sure that their loved ones are safe, to make sure that they have opportunities to go to school and travel without restriction, to make sure they have the opportunities that other people have, regardless of their income or their status in life. And this is something that we know as Palestinians is just instrumental to our struggle. We fight for freedom. We fight for justice. We are proud of who we are. And no matter how hard that fight is, we're going to stay with it until we ensure that equality. That's what I do here in America as a civil rights lawyer, to push back on the systems that seek to oppress people, that want to drown out our voices and hope that the world forgets about us. But we're not going to let them forget. We're going to keep pushing. And now we're in a position to actually make some meaningful change.
Yes, and we noticed that the Palestinian community in the United States are making good progress with regard to running for high posts, like what you are doing now. We have members in the American Congress. We have Mr. Rasul, who is running for lieutenant governor of the state of Virginia. How do you think this would give you a momentum to affect the American public opinion when it comes to the Palestinian matter?
I think it's important to know that and to see that us Palestinians here in America are very much part of the American fabric of life. We are educators, lawyers, doctors, store clerks, entrepreneurs. We are people that fight for justice and equality. We are educators. We are those on the front lines that have kept this country going in the healthcare industry, and our workers and our unions. And so we are part and parcel of what it means to be American. And I think it's time to start seeing us in those leadership roles as opposed to associating us with just foreign issues. And this is the time to do it. I stand before you here as someone from the impacted community. And so we know that the Palestinians here are also impacted by the policies of America and our local state and city government. So it's imperative to see us in these leadership positions. It's imperative to see us as one and the same as those who live here.
Yes, and my final question to you, Tahanie. The American administrations have never been fair to the Palestinian cause and to the Palestinian people suffering. Now, achieving this progress on the part of the Palestinians in the United States and their friends and all those who support justice for the people of Palestine, does this give you an opportunity to push the current American administration to press Israel to stop its crimes and violations against the Palestinian people, and to tell Israel that the United States have its values and you have to commit to these values and end your colonial settler occupation for the Palestinian land? Are you optimistic about that? Is it possible?
Absolutely. It's possible and it's happening. I mean, with the election of Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Jamal Bowman, Betty McCollum, so many people that are fighting to balance that narrative. And even Bernie Sanders really pushed the conversation to make sure that we are not only recognize the plight of the Palestinians, but to hold the systems accountable that seek to oppress us. And that's going to be an important factor in every race. When you see Palestinians get to these levels of government and the conversation begins to change, so does accountability and the policy. So will it take a little bit longer? Absolutely. But we are making progress. And I think these milestones are imperative to pushing that conversation to where we're protecting the rights of the Palestinians. We're ensuring equality. We're fighting back against the racism and oppression and the restrictions that they're under at this point.
Tahanie Abboushi, Palestinian American activist running for Manhattan District Attorney. It has been a pleasure having you on our program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honor.
And thank you very much for watching. And from me, Osama Nazal. Goodbye.